see they're still relaxed in the back. It's just like a slingshot effect where you go from riding along easy and then shooting back into the bunch and freewheeling and braking. It just becomes, it's not uncomfortable, it's just annoying more than anything really.
Do you think riders have got their favourite part of the peloton?
Definitely, yeah. G's is in top 30. Elia's, which we see a lot of the time, when Elia's doing the sprint day for the first 100k, he's always in the last 30. He's always just cruising around at the back, and you get such a toe when you're at the back, and even if you're at the front now, it's still very easy, but you still have to ride in the wind a little bit, you still have to move around a little bit, whereas that back group's always a little bit bunched up, so you can save a little bit of energy. But every rider's got his preference, and every rider's got his own sort of way to ride, and it's very personal, I guess.
Time for some tour stories now, with 128k's to go.
First up, Alex Dowsett saying she added up all of the IGL on the ramps. They have quite a few altitude meters. They are quite steep ramps. Jon Kopfelik's been back in action with Bertie Contador. Thibaut Pinot, well, he loved the fact that his name was everywhere at the end of yesterday's stage. At the front. That's very nice. Always calm and relaxed. Here's Marc Madiot. Andre Greipel trying his hand at cyclocross.
Did you celebrate your jersey today?
2 times. Because the first time I heard in the radio that I was a yellow jersey, but after 30 seconds, no, sorry man, you are the second. In this moment I think no, my life was finished already, and when I come here in the podium, near to the podium, I feel you are yellow jersey, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. No man, I'm second, I'm not the yellow jersey. So now I'm here with the lion, yellow jersey. It's perfect, no? Perfect day.
Here's Dylan Groenewegen saying, descending, the best moment of the day. And it really was a very, very tough stage. Took it out of all of them, although perhaps not Alberto Contador.
Easiest day on the bike in the mountains that Alberto's ever had, I think. It's nice listening to it as we see the latest homageometer. John, while you're there, what are we giving this?
I've been sent some incredible ones today. One certainly that ranked right up there at 9.5. This one, it's an interesting one. They are burning diesel though by driving the tractors around, so they go down. And
it's not very green, is it?
No, it's not green. We're a green tour this year, so they'll have to buy at 6.5.
I was going to say, it didn't really do much for me. 3:51 back to the peloton. We just saw, whilst we were watching the tour stories, a bit of a strange crash there for Nicolas Roche. Seemed to go over the front of his bars as if he'd hit something quite suddenly on the road. He's back on his bike now. He's lost a couple of little bits of the fabric on his jersey. He's in the car. Not really in any rush to get back in because he doesn't need to be, but you can see he's lost a little bit of his shorts as well. Not the perfect thing to happen, but it looks okay.
Yeah, strange running out of it. A bottle or something. Normally you might get a few bottles given out at the top of the climb, a little feed, so you might have hit one of them, and he might be having a little bit of food as well. You never know, he might just slip of the handlebar when expecting, fairly relaxed, and he might just, hit the deck.
It's that sort of day on the Tour de France. It's the longest day of the Tour, 230 Ks in total. Just over 100 have been ridden. Back in a minute.